Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Saturday Are for the Boys. I have Eddie with me here again, and we are actually going to wrap up the comic with issues 66 to 72. So there is going to be another video I'm going to make next week that's going to feature Dear Becky, which came out in 2022, or was it 2020? I'll figure all that out before I record it. But that's very minor. It didn't seem like anything that was worth diving into, but I do want to put a little bow on top of this package that we've kind of created going through all these comics over the last couple months now. So Eddie, do you have any, like last we saw, Homelander was taken care of. Black Noir was the apparent culprit and identical twin to Homelander. So we wrapped all that up. So do you have any idea how this last part ends?
Like, where could it go? Like zero, like zero, no clue. Like, where could it go? Because, you know, my context is the show and Homelander has been the objective the entire time. So with him gone, what else is there?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, the show from day one has been kill Homelander, and they've just failed at it miserably. And if you're up to date on the show, you know it's gotten even worse. So I will say there's going to be spoilers for the comic because we're wrapping it up today, and there will be spoilers for the show. Although we will not spoil this week's episode in case you haven't seen it. So it'd be season 5, episode 6. Did you watch the new one?
Yes, I'm all caught up, so
okay.
I'm safe.
All right. So if we make certain comments that go over people's heads that are maybe unaware. But yeah, yes. So let's dive into it. So we're on to, so this is the end of Omnibus 6, the last Omnibus. This is issue 66, The Bloody Doors Off, part 1. So Butcher goes back to Russia and he kills Voss, AKA Love Sausage, and he kills him with a bazooka. Meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi is the transitional president, as to Coda Bob and Vic the Veep are dead. We learned from the news that despite V being a well-known thing, it was still marketed as everybody was created by God that were soups and it was not a man-made thing. But it was pretty common knowledge at the same time. Now, in the aftermath of Homelander Noir, many of the soups are locked up or are hiding, and the news is asking, what the hell was Vought trying to sell if V is so random? And in a controlled environment, you get Black Noir. So in the news, they're like, you know, look, you can pump V into anybody and you have no idea what you're going to get. So why were they doing that to begin with when they had zero control over any of it, as evidenced by what happened in the last issue? So Vought's not coming back from all of this, like from a marketing standpoint. So the boys want to move on. Frenchie wants to take Kamiko somewhere she can have a life. Meanwhile, Stillwell and Jessica Bradley know they're about to get blamed for Homelander Noir's actions, even if they were in the dark about them. So they discuss what to do next. Butcher tells everyone they get 3 months off, and then Huey gets a promotion, which no one is happy about, not even Huey. Annie then leaves. She's sick and tired of waiting for Huey to get over what he saw in that room with the 7. Well, with 3 of the 7. So that's issue 66. So one of the things I thought was interesting, because I had remembered through the comic that V was always a well-known thing, and not a God-made thing as marketed, but apparently it was still marketed like that, even though a lot of people knew that it wasn't. And obviously we saw that in the show. That was a huge deal in the show.
It was really early on when like they had Vought had to go into essentially damage control for what they'd been just marketing for all those years early on in the show. So it's been just one of those things that feels like it's common knowledge at this point.
Yeah. Well, my thinking is if all these parents have to sign off for their kids to get V, like clearly a ton of people knew, and how many parents said no and still knew?
Yeah. And if every like piddly little city has their own superhero, this has to be like the worst kept secret in the world. So
I think that's kind of what it is in the comic. But in the show, you saw like Queen Maeve was devastated. Annie was devastated. Like so many people were like, I mean, even in Gen V, all those kids were pissed. And so I thought, that
absolutely.
was... Go ahead.
That's always one of the great little character pieces of the show, to like show how people react to that and how they felt betrayed about it, or embrace that life. So
yeah, I mean, you could look at it as, my parents.
It's one of the interesting pieces.
Yeah, my parents wanted what's best for me. But then if you end up with an interesting superpower that's not perceived as good, like
Yeah.
It's like, what did you do to me? Or if it alters you physically, which you don't really see that so much in the boys. You see that more in like X-Men or something like that. But, you know, being able to blend in. Or like Beast says, you don't shed on the furniture.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah. So they don't know that Butcher killed Voss at this point. They have no idea. And we don't know why he killed Voss at this point. And if anybody, the name Voss doesn't sound familiar, that is Love Sausage. That is the guy with the huge appendage that always seems to target MM. MM has since gotten his revenge. I'll leave it at that. But in the comics, Voss is a friend. He is a soup in Russia. He's kind of like Red Guardian, but he is a friend to the boys. And he helped the boys out in the beginning of the comics. So... Number 67. Yeah, having him in this, it was just like, oh, that's so-and-so. But he was never, you know, on their side at all. He was just like an experiment of Stormfronts that later became like one of the Freedom Camp goons. All right. So number 67, The Bloody Doors Off Part 2. The CIA has fired the boys and revoked everyone's citizenship, except, of course, MM, because he is a U.S. citizen. Butcher is not answering his phone. The legend tells Huey he thinks it's all Rayner cleaning house to run for office. She wants to run for senator. Legend then tells Huey about Voss. Huey is shocked and shows a random nonsensical text he actually had gotten from Voss the other day. Legend says part of it is a commie tank. So he's looking at it. He's like, oh, well, these numbers, because it was like jumbled numbers and letters. And he's like, well, that right there is a commie tank. And, you know, he was in Russia. So he then tells Huey if he wants to stick around, he should find Monkey to get to Rayner. He then calls Monkey and channels his inner Butcher and threatens Monkey to help him out because Monkey is not Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He gets yanked around. He's a joke. They all kind of laugh at him. Meanwhile, MM and Janine, his daughter, have a heart-to-heart. So we learn that she is actually only 12 years old. The V in MM made her age faster. I did not know that. So her age is actually similar to her age in the show, but she's drawn like a full-grown, like older teenager. I shouldn't say full-grown older teenager. That sounds inconsistent. But she's drawn as a very voluptuous teen. Like I thought she was like 18. Especially because she was doing some films that were very inappropriate. Turns out she's only 12. I had no idea. So Janine tells MM that Butcher actually, after he found out she was doing these films with her mom, Butcher went out there and took out her mom in front of her, as well as the other people that made her do the movie. So, I mean, yay, that's great. Some bad people are gone, but he did it in front of Janine and she's very traumatized. Yeah. Butcher then goes off and kills the legend. And Huey realizes that Voss' text is actually an email. He sends him an email and he gets an automated response saying that he is dead and there is a link with some info. So this is very interesting because it's like we only have 2 episodes of The Boys left in this season. And it's like, I have no idea how they're going to wrap it up. There's still so much to wrap up in the show, especially with how many issues they took to wrap up The Boys. So it's like, I think this is one of the things everybody's wondered that has read the comics if they're going to do at the end, because obviously the Noir Homelander story, they can't do that anymore. I mean, as soon as we saw a flashback of Noir, we realized that's not Homelander's twin.
Yeah.
But is Butcher going to kill everybody?
Is it... I mean, the arc of his character is definitely going where it has the potential to do that, you know.
I've totally forgot to show the pictures. Yeah, so here's the legend. Yeah, that's not Paul Reiser, but it is the legend.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know where you say it has the potential. I mean, yeah, he could. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, Butcher's character, the way he's evolved over the past couple of seasons, has the potential to go the direction of where he just wipes everybody out in the end. But I don't know. Carl Urban, as an actor, he's always like the heroic type, even when he's been playing somewhat of a villain. So who knows with that one? I don't know. Given how things have been going this season on the show, who knows where it's going at this point?
I know. We really have no clue. But yeah, I agree. Carl Urban always has that little bit of like, you're still rooting for him. And I think in this show, they've definitely made him more likable than the comic. But I think you have to do that in live action. I think when you have somebody that's disgusting, you lose it. I mean, even Homelander at times, the emphasis on at times, is likable. Like when he rolls his eyes at all the baby oil or something.
Oh yeah, like it's just those little things that we giggle at as well. But ugh, he's just so pathetic.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, like you see like his traumatic past. They don't really dive into that in the comics.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Well, I mean, his past has been beautiful. Anthony Starr has made that character. I mean, maybe that's what it is too.
Oh,
It's who you cast.
he was born to play him. Like, oh my gosh, he's awesome as him. But
I know.
ugh.
I've never seen him in anything else. I feel like I need to.
Yeah, old action show he was on. I think it was called Banshee. Was pretty good. I liked it.
Is that the one where he plays twins?
I think so. It's been a while. Maybe. It was an action show that was on Cinemax. I think it's on HBO Max now too. So
I'll have to check that out. Maybe that's what I'll use to like make myself feel better when The Boys ends. But I mean, that would have been funny if they did do the noir Homelander thing. It's like, oh, once again, he's playing twins. But all right, so let's venture on to issue 68. And as soon as you see the cover and you see it's you're like, no. All right, so the Bloody Doors Off, part 3. Huey reaches out to and Frenchie and tells them he thinks Butcher killed the legend and Voss. The link that he got from Voss showed that after the boys left Russia, there was the warehouse, like there was a warehouse with all these soups and all their heads exploded. So Voss looked into that and learned it was actually Butcher who made that happen. And he had somebody working on soup exploding tech, which instantly made me think of Samir. So it turns out he got the tech to Rayner, who actually used that technology to save the day and stop the soups from taking over. Remember, they had missiles that were like targeting the neurons in soup's brains because they fired differently. So it sounds like Voss was on to Butcher and he had a biochemist working for him. But he's actually referring to Vogelbaum, obviously not Samir, whereas Vogelbaum was a much older gen. You know, we met Vogelbaum, I think season 1, I believe his head exploded.
Mm-hmm.
So they couldn't be Vogelbaum now, which is probably why they created the character of Samir. So Huey knows Mallory had him making V because he had Vogelbaum kidnapped for a while and making V for the boys and stuff. But then he thought Butcher killed him. Apparently Butcher did not. Now the boys are thinking that Butcher is trying to kill every single soup, which obviously that is his new plan this season is to commit soup genocide. Yeah. As the boys try to figure out what's going on, Butcher walks in on Butcher tells him he can still walk away from all this. Does not walk away, and Butcher takes out with a grenade. Meanwhile, in DC, Vought is actually on trial, and Jessica Bradley is shook as Stillwell comforts her. He comforts her in a very adult way. No. So, yeah. So now MM's gone. So I will say this concerns me a little with the show. I love I think he's, was it Laz has beautifully nailed him. And he even has the demeanor, a lot other than Huey, all the comic book characters really kind of look like themselves with the boys. And I feel like he's done a great job of keeping, I mean, you can even, I feel like you can see Laz with the glasses down low, like you're looking at him. And he's kept that still very protective of Janine, but gets angry, but keeps Butcher in check, but is good being the leader. So I feel like he's kind of nailed those. But here we see Butcher doesn't think that is, I guess, moral enough, and he ends up taking him out. And I worry because this season, seems to have lost his conscience a little bit. And he's just willing to do whatever to just take out Homelander, even if that means killing all the soups in the world of, men, women, and children. And so I'm like, is Butcher now going to view differently than he has in the past and maybe see him as worth being taken out? I don't know.
Oh, man. I hope not. Has been one of my favorite characters the entire time. He's always the reluctant one. He feels like the conscience in a lot of ways. Even when we're supposed to be most empathetic with Huey, but I don't know. I it might just depend upon who you are. But is always the one that I kind of really gravitated towards. So, oh man, I hope not.
I agree because he's the conscience and he's reasonable, whereas Huey can sometimes be unreasonable. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. MM's the only grown up, I feel like a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He absolutely has. But yeah, he's kind of hit his breaking point in this current season. So
yeah. And he's just
man.
In it to take them all out now. But he says that feels better now because he's just accepted what he is and what's happening. And he's no longer worried about it. What was it? He even ate the thing off the floor. in this show. And Butcher's like, I never thought I'd see the day, because he has like OCD and he always wanted everything very, very meticulously clean. And now he's using the 5-second rule, which is not real.
No such thing.
All right. So number 69. This is going to be a sad cover as well, because it is Frenchie and Kimiko. They never name her in Kimiko. She's always the female, but I'm not going to keep calling her the female. So it's Frenchie and Kimiko. And she is younger in this. She is more like a child. It is more a father-daughter, I would say big brother, little sister relationship. So number 69, The Bloody Doors Off, Part 4. Jessica and Stillwell did sleep together, and Huey learns of MM from Frenchie. So he now knows that MM is gone. They decide that together, the three of them have to take out Butcher, because the CIA wants them all kept secret. So they know the CIA will not help them take down Butcher. Because it was like, you guys were classified. Nobody's supposed to know about you. We're not going to help you take this guy out. We want you guys to just go away. Mm-hmm. Huey decides to follow a lead, thinking Vogelbaum may not be dead. I, of course, already spoiled that. He finds Vogelbaum, but now he's dead. And Butcher calls while Huey is there at Vogelbaum's place. Butcher tells him that he did not kill him that night. Mallory saw Butcher walk out of the house and spit raspberry jam out of his mouth, whereas Mallory assumed it was like the neck of Vogelbaum. Like he like went full on like Rick Grimes on him. So Huey asks why Butcher is doing all this, and he said he's got to finish the job. So this is just finishing more of what they started. He has everything set up to kill all the Supes in about 6 to 7 months. That would include the boys. Because remember, the boys all have some kind of V in them. V is a little different in the comics. So when they got the temp V, it doesn't wear off. They're all still a little bit stronger. They're all going to age a little bit slower, all of that. Huey updates Frenchie, who suddenly finds the bomb. Knowing it's too late, he simply looks lovingly at Kimiko, and they go boom. So that's really sad. They're like in, I think it was actually the headquarters they had in the show, the Iron Top or something like that. I can't remember what it's called.
Mm-hmm. The Flatiron Building.
Yes, Flatiron Building. Yes. So that's in the comic. And so Frenchie sees it, and instead of panicking, it's a beautiful little picture of him kind of just looking down at her. And it's very obvious, he's so much taller than her. And he just looks at her like, not even I try, just like almost like they're having a loving moment, like giving her peace, because she doesn't realize what's about to happen.
Mm.
Yeah. So Huey.
That's really in character.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I get why they made them a romantic couple as opposed to father-daughter, because I don't think they wanted a child. Well, for one, the child's going to age, and that's going to be an issue for, a show that's 5 seasons that takes place over. I mean, the show started in 2019, so it's been 7 years. Yeah. Look at Ryan. The kid would have aged up really quick.
Yeah. The kid's 9 feet tall now.
Look at him, though, man. He's killing it. So grown up. Yeah. They grow up so fast. So Huey's actually outside when it explodes, and he kind of gets like knocked out, and he suddenly realizes his job that Butcher lined him up for is like, he actually needs to stop Butcher from continuing down this road, although everybody else is pretty much dead at this point. So that's what we got. Mm. Now we venture on to number 70, and the cover is Huey.
Oh my gosh.
Looking very extra Simon Pegg in this picture, I think.
Yeah, no, you expect Nick Frost to come in and give him a hug.
Oh, wait, actually, that's 71. This is 70. Oh. That's not any better. He's drowning in milk.
Oh, no.
Okay, so number 70. This one's a quick one. This is The Bloody Doors Off, Part 5. Huey calls Monkey with an update, who then tells him Butcher is at the Empire State Building, and he has the place evacuated. So it's just Butcher up there, no one else. Since Monkey got his clearance back, he got Huey his clearance back. Huey's able to head up to the Empire State Building, and they let him. Butcher had told them they need to clear the place because there's terrorists up there. Butcher has his finger on a trigger ready to kill anyone with V in their system, because he has these bombs set up all over the world. So it's kind of like the soup virus, only it's not, however they're trying to disseminate it now. Unless Huey can stop him, Huey suddenly finds himself hanging off the building as Butcher actually saves his life. So the cover, I didn't mention it because it didn't seem relevant to the story, but I forgot this is what the cover looks like. Huey went and visited MM's mom to try to get some information, and MM's mom no longer looks human. She looks like a blob with breasts that look like love sausages appendage, and she actually nurses Huey. This is why the book will always be more ridiculous than the show.
This is so... Which is hard to do, to be honest. So,
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, I think it was just showing like Huey's desperate, and I think they wanted us to see MM's mom at this point. But it's also kind of sad because she's like saying, "Oh, my boy," and remember she lost her son, her other son. She lost her husband, and now she doesn't even know she lost this son. Okay, so now we go back to the Simon Pegg cover. So this is the Bloody Doors off conclusion. So this is basically the penultimate issue. So how do you think this is going to end? Just curious right now.
Well,
Huey versus Butcher.
Yeah, we're getting Huey. Getting the covers have been indicators so far. We're getting like a more or less a Huey yearbook photo right here, and it feel like there should be an in memoriam message written right across this thing
with the arms of the angel playing.
He's gonna. Let me see, and they've all been relatively creative here, so he's gonna Final Destination him somehow.
He should have just gone to the
It's
Winchester.
inevitable at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should have let it blown over. Okay, so here we're at this Empire State Building. Huey cut his leg pretty bad, but Butcher was able to get him back up onto the building. However, they both fell, and Butcher then talks Huey through tying a belt around his leg so he doesn't bleed out because he got like a thing like right through his leg. Butcher broke his neck, though, in this fall, and he can't feel anything from the neck down. The trigger lays on the floor as Butcher jokes it's a good thing that landed up, otherwise he would have just killed every soup in the world. Huey asks why, and Butcher says they would have stopped him. So he's saying, like, Voss and Legend and MM and all of them, they would have stopped his ultimate plan, so he had to take them out. They then talk about Lenny, which is Butcher's little brother, and Butcher's actually comparing him to Huey in that moment. And then he explains how he set certain things up to test Huey, and Huey always ended up still kind of keeping his hope, and his Jiminy Cricket was still always there. And Butcher tried to push him to the extreme, and Huey's like, but you were always telling me to get tougher. And he's like, that was so you didn't die while we were on these missions, but you still maintained like your humanity. So he needed him to stop Butcher one day. So it was basically like Butcher's like, if I ever went too far, I knew you would be there to keep me in check. Butcher then explains he had Vogelbaum make the soup-seeking missiles, which stopped Homelander and his mates, which was actually a really good thing. Butcher then tells Huey to grab a hold of Annie and don't let go. And keep in mind, in the past, he had always said Annie's evil. All soups are evil. What are you doing? He was very upset when he found out they were dating. Butcher then he smiles about Becky. So he's laying there not able to move, broken neck. He's already killed all of his friends except Huey. His wife's dead, his, brother's dead. And he's just smiling about Becky, and he tells Huey to kill him. He's like, please just kill me. He's like, I can't live my life a quadriplegic, especially because he'll be a quadriplegic in jail. Huey says he can't until Butcher then tells Huey, yeah, well, I went to Scotland and I killed your parents. And he tells Huey in detail about what the house he grew up in looks like. He tells them about the parents. And as far as he knew, he had never met his parents. So Huey reacts and he stabs Butcher right through the heart, killing him. Huey immediately then calls his parents, and his parents are perfectly fine. They're okay. They're excited to hear from Huey. And they're like, oh, your friend Butcher recently visited. He was so nice. So meanwhile, Jessica Bradley learns that her new friend with benefits, Stillwell, sold her out. He blamed her for the White House Homelander debacle. He put everything on her. It was a setup from the beginning. She was actually, if anybody watches How I Met Your Mother, it was kind of like Barney. It's like, what do you do for a living? Please. So that's basically what Jessica Bradley was. We see her watch the news as this is unfolding. So she's finding out that she's being completely sold out and blamed for everything by Stillwell on the news, and while she's trying to get a hold of him because they're more friends with benefits, but he was comforting her. It seemed like they bonded. Then we see her on her knees pulling her hair out, which of course made me think of Ashley. So that's how that wraps up. So we do have one issue left, but that's pretty much how it all wraps up.
So Huey gets to ride off into the sunset. All right.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
More or less, yeah.
Got a lot of trauma he's got to deal with, and
that's what they do in the movies. They ride off into the sunset, and then they never go to therapy. So, this is what he's gonna do.
Every episode of Supernatural. I always said they should have like a supernatural therapist on standby. Like after they save your life, you're like, here's a card. Please call this person because you're gonna think ghosts are chasing you the rest of your life now, and they might be. Who knows? So that's how it all goes. I hope that's not how they end the show. I don't know what I want. honestly. But so I'll read this last issue, and then maybe we actually do some predictions for the final and see what we would like from the comic for them to play out. But yeah, so here's our Riding into the Sunset. This is issue 72, You Found Me, the end. So anybody who's not on the YouTube, the cover of this is fantastic. It's just a bunch of soups like flying into a toilet. So it's like all the soups are just going down the drain. So this is 6 months later. We see Huey and Jamie, the little gerbil, sunbathing on a roof. We see soups are actually flying. So we know the virus bombs were never detonated. And Huey even laughs like, you guys don't know how lucky or how close you came to all being dead. Huey meets with Stillwell, who still works for Vought, but he is no longer publicly listed as an employee, and they've rebranded it to American Consolidated. So it's no longer Vought. It's a totally new company. Huey gives Stillwell some of the stuff that Butcher had made and tells him to give it to his research guys. So like the stuff that was going to disseminate this virus, he's like, hey, have your guys research this. Know that I have this on hand. I can take out all the soups if I wanted to, kind of thing. He tells him that the business will continue as usual, but if he sees soups near any country's defense industry, he will use this soup virus. He wants to keep them out of anything that's serious, like make them the joke that they are. Stillwell informs him soups are profits and the business will always win, even if Huey killed him right there. That moment right there made me think of Stan Edgar when he was talking to MM in this season. So I was like that. I mean, and both of these characters are absolutely right. Because I feel like Stan Edgar kind of possessed some of what Stillwell was in this, especially when they made Madeline a woman and killed her. Well, I should say a woman that Homelander was in love with and killed her early. So Stan Edgar has that very calm, very nothing phases, like his heart rate doesn't go up, and that bothers Homelander. So I feel like he's more like Stillwell in the comics than Madeline was. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, Stan Edgar, one, Giancarlo Esposito is always incredible.
I love him, yes.
But yeah, he's the, for lack of a better term, the pragmatist in this situation. Is like, listen, you're probably gonna be able to do what you want to do, but in the end, the dollar always wins, and that's the side that he's picked. That's just, no matter who he's helping, he's always picked the side of the dollar.
Yeah.
So.
And it's
that's where he's going towards.
And that's how the world works. And that's how Stillwell's saying it right now. And again, I think that's what I love so much about going back and reading these comics is just the tiny little nods. Okay, so we cut to Rayner, who is running for Senate. Again, the Rayners had exploded early on in the show. Butcher and her have been having an affair off and on for years. She uses the Homelander debacle to help her get elected. She says she got the info to stop it, which she got from Butcher. And then she's talking about helping wounded military from that day. And suddenly we hear a tape of her and Butcher with a plane flying over that says, quote, Susan Rayner is I don't even want to say it, a worker who gets paid for doing things. And you hear the tape of them going at it, and they are very vulgar in their vocabulary when the two of them are going at it. So I don't know why that, whatever. Butcher's, he's just a jerk.
Yeah, he's twisted.
Back at Not Vought, Stillwell is presented with a new set of soups called True. They're in all white, and all of them are white, except for one who is very clearly the Deep, and he's completely covered. But the other Not Vought people insist they'll always have the same problems. Because Stillwell's like, you can't just redress old soups and market it as new soups. It's time to completely start all over. And somebody like there is like, yeah, but they're just going to end up having the same problems. Like they're all going to have the same problems. Then we wrap with Huey and Annie in love by the rebuilt Brooklyn Bridge. All has been forgiven and they're happy. And that's it.
Just wrapped up with a bow like that, huh?
Yep. And the Brooklyn Bridge thing, that was their 9/11. The soups had destroyed it when they messed it up. So that's why it's finally all built. And he puts initials, actually kind of like Supernatural. He put initials in the Brooklyn Bridge with like, it says F and F, so Frenchie and female, and MM for Mother's Milk. He did not put any for Butcher. But that's how it is. And it's interesting because he's like, Butcher had to kill MM, Frenchie, and Kimiko because they would have stopped him, but he wanted Huey to stop him. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. But yeah, that's what he did.
But in the end, he got his little stab at the last laugh type of stab by getting that tape played of Rayner. So, right.
But I wonder in the show, like, would Butcher be willing to like kill one of the boys to get to Homelander.
Yeah, he's definitely a by any means necessary type of guy, and he's shown that when you get in his way, he'll do stuff. He'll do what he needs to do.
I almost wonder if Huey will be the one to die just because he was the only one that survived in the comics, just to like switch it up, maybe
flip it on its head a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know.
That obviously that would leave Annie as like the wild card factor in that one too, because she would lose it.
Oh yeah, we saw her for a second when she thought she lost Huey.
Yeah, so we've plus with what you've seen of them, and even up to the latest episodes, they've been a little bit more lovey-dovey than we've ever seen them before.
Well, they were apart for a year.
Yeah, so that's true. I forgot. Yeah,
that makes a little sense.
So,
but yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, we have no idea. I mean, obviously, Eric Kripke and some people have an idea. But even I wonder how much the characters know, too, because I know I'm not going to spoil Daredevil, but there was a thing in Daredevil where the actor didn't know that they were going to die because they didn't film their death and something happened. And I was like, oh, my gosh, that's crazy. You think like, oh, I'm going to be on the next season. And then this, not so much. Obviously, there's no next season. I don't know what all they're going to do with Gen V canceled. We're supposed to be getting a Mexico spinoff. Obviously, there's Vought Rising, but that's a prequel, so you can't bring these characters into that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. So that's the comics. That's the Boys comics, issues 1 to 72. We've wrapped them up. Next week, I will cover the 8 issues of Dear Becky that came out in 2020. It came out around season 2. The Boys is created by Garth Ennis and Darick Robertson. All comic images were from Dynamite Entertainment. And I recommend going to read this book. This was just a brief summary and a discussion, but there's so many other things. Some things I just didn't feel comfortable saying on here, and other things that we would have just spent too much time. But the art is disgusting and phenomenal. It's very intelligent and also grotesque at times. It brings in some real world things that were going on in the early to mid 2000s. And you will probably pick up a whole realm of things I didn't even notice that were nods in the show. And it's making me want to go back and rewatch the first 4 seasons that I haven't watched in a while just to pick up more of this stuff. But that's what I got. Any final thoughts on, you were like thrown in at the end too. Like here's I mean, it's going to be crazy no matter where you're thrown in. What am I saying?
Yeah, it's insane. So, I'm gonna go back and read these now. I've got the first volume, the first 12 issues on my shelf that I've just never picked up. So I'm gonna pick that up when the series is over to go backwards, and maybe during my weird days off when I'm sitting around doing nothing, I'll read a little bit of those and watch an episode or two to see if I can pick something out of it. But it's it seems to be just a strange time capsule of like that mid 2000s, but like 2012-ish. And that's a very unique time in general. And this is really a caricaturized and embellished version of that. So I'm interested in revisiting my own history in this period.
Yeah, I would love to have been there when they were trying to pitch it to like Prime as well, just because like I remember the first time I saw the trailer for it, I was like, I don't know these superheroes. I thought it was just some generic superhero show. I didn't realize what exactly it was and how it changed my life.
I'm convinced it was the strength of Eric Kripke and Seth Rogen working on this thing. And they're like, oh, yeah, we got Carl Urban for this thing, too. I'm like, oh, OK, we'll go with it.
Yeah.
And by the way, Meg Ryan's kid. So
yeah, that's true. I was going to say, but Carl Urban was probably the biggest. Well, I mean, you had Elizabeth Shue in it as well. I mean, I love her. But I mean, they were, probably the biggest names of that. I mean, now Anthony Starr is a huge name, and so many of these other
he's
characters
big name
too.
now. It's Well, I mean, Chase Crawford is like known in certain circles too. Apparently, he was on like was he on Gossip Girl before?
I think he was. I never watched it, but I didn't know who he was until this.
Same. I was like, oh, he's on other things, and I had no clue. I thought he was just some guy who'd been acting forever and then finally got on this, but apparently he's been in plenty of other stuff too.
But I would say, I mean, I don't know, this might just be me personally, but season 2 coming out in 2020, I have to imagine helped because we were just looking to consume any new TV and movies that we could. So because that's when I got into it.
Yeah, it's when the first season came out. I watched it all the way through in like one weekend because they actually I remember they released all 8 episodes in one shot.
Oh wow.
And when it rolled down to the second season, they put out like the first do like they do now. They put out the first like 3, and then weekly after that. And I cranked through the first 3. Then it recycled back around to the first season. I was like, "Where's the rest of them?"
Oh, that's annoying.
That was when streaming services altered themselves. Yeah, it's
it's all
benefits
expectation.
to it,
but
yeah. It was also the middle of the pandemic, and I needed something to do.
Yeah, I think it came out September 2020. That was one of the first episodes that Matt and I, my Hops Geek News co-host, did, was covering The Boys season 2. I should go back and listen. I can't even imagine what our theories were and all of that. I should. I hate listening back to myself, but that would actually probably be funny. All right. Well, yeah, that's The Boys. So make sure to like and follow, of course. That sucks a little bit of our soul every time we do it, but we got to do it. But yeah, we've got a bunch of The Boys content. Matt and I have been recapping the shows every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. after they come out. We got all of this comic book origin. I've been doing reels as well with Mr. Marathon and Malchemical and Soldier Boy and all that after our beautiful Supernatural reunion. We have an article on our website. Every week there's an article after the show, and there's an article with Supernatural Easter eggs that I will continue to update until the show finishes, because I know they're going to give us more. They're going to give us more Supernatural Easter eggs. They can't help themselves. There was even one this week. Soldier Boy hates flying. So does Dean Winchester.
Oh, and
that's what we got. So yeah, I had thought he did. And then in this one, he's like, "Oh, I hate flying." I'm like, I know you do. So there you go. That's Saturday for The Boys. So cheers, stay safe. And yes, God bless Homelander.